joy and success. Every day's a chance for happiness. Yes, we can live a beautiful, crazy plan. Every day's a celebration.
Hello, and welcome to the Great Song Adventure. I'm Paul Zollo here with Louise Goffin. Hey, Louise.
Hey, it's another beautiful day, and it's another beautiful interview with the great Bob Dylan.
This is part 2. We're going to talk like Dylan. Part 2 of our Dylan interview. Sorry. But I'm thrilled to get to bring these archival interviews. As I said, I did these for print, but I taped them, but I didn't think people would be listening to the tapes. But it's great to get to hear them and get to hear how Dylan spoke.
I guess it was a tape at the time. There wasn't any digital, right?
That's right. It was a cassette tape. I actually had 2 going, just in case. I'm going to take a chance that I didn't get it,
Well, it's an honor to be doing this with you, Paul, and the fact that you've been doing this so many years and have these incredible archival interviews and that we get to share them with our listeners. Here is part 2 with Bob Dylan.
You mentioned Randy Newman, and he says he writes his best songs just by doing it every day and like a job.
Tom Paxton told me the same thing. He's a songwriter. He has written a whole lot of stuff. But
we don't just...
Yeah, he goes back with me way back.
Right,
yeah, he told me the same thing. Every day he gets up and he goes and he writes a song. Wow, that's great. You write the song and then take your kids to school. Come home, have some lunch with the wife, maybe go write another song. Tom said he would, for recreation, to get himself loose, he rode his horse.
Right.
So, and then pick up his child from school and then go to bed with the wife. Now, to me, that sounds like the ideal way to write songs. To me, that's great. It couldn't be any better than that.
How do you do it?
Well, my songs aren't written on a schedule like that. Tom, like a schedule like in my mind, it's never really been seriously a profession or confession. It's been more confessional than professional. Then again, everybody's in it for a different reason.
Mm-hmm. But do you ever sit down with the intention, I'm going to write now, or do songs come to you? What causes you to write a song?
Either or, both ways. It can come and just... It's possible now for a songwriter to have a recording studio in his house and record a song and make a demo and do a thing. It's kind of the roles have changed on all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now me, the environment to write the song is extremely important. The environment has to be has to bring something out of me that wants to be brought out. It's a contemplative, reflective kind of thing. Feelings really aren't my thing. Feelings, it's not my thing.
Yeah, I know.
People who need people.
Yeah,
That's not my thing. They're songs, though. We're all in the same world, and these are songs. But you got to think to yourself, well, these, no, it's not. It's not quite the same. It exists though on the same stage.
Mm-hmm.
People who need people are the luckiest people. Now, to me, that's bullshit.
It's funny you mentioned that song. My brother, when I was about 12, said, if you wrote that song...
Oh, actually, let me take that. If who wrote that song? No, let me take it back. It's not bullshit. You know, it's not bullshit. It's not bullshit. People who meet people in some kind of way could be the luckiest people in the world. Maybe it's true. Could be for somebody. Okay? But to me, okay, that's not bullshit. That's not a lie. It might be a little, you know, it's not a lie. Something like Sam Cooke singing I love you, I love you, I love you 16 times and 32 times over and over again. That's a lie. Now, he's singing it. He didn't write it, but he's singing it. I love you, I love you. That's a lie. Yeah. It's not a right lie. Right. It's a proven fact. Most people in this world who say I love you don't mean it. Doctors have proved that. So, love generates a lot of songs, probably more so than a lot. Now, it's not my intention to have love influence my songs any more than it influenced Chuck Berry's songs or Woody Guthrie's or Hank Williams. Hank Williams they're not love songs. We're degrading them songs, calling them love songs. Those are songs from the tree of life. There's no love on the tree of life. You know, love is on the tree of knowledge, tree of good and evil. So we have a lot of songs in the popular music about love. Who needs them? Not you, not me. Maybe you can use love to in a lot of ways which will come back to hurt you. Love is a democratic principle. It's a Greek thing. People, a college professor told me if you read the history, if you read about Greece from the history books, the textbooks tell you about Greece, you'll know all about America. Nothing that happens will puzzle you ever again. You read the history of ancient Greece and when the Romans came in, and nothing will ever bother you about America again. You'll see what America is. No. Maybe, but there's a lot of other countries in the world besides America. Too. You can't forget about them.
Yeah, at least. When you mentioned the environment, have you found in your experience that there's like geographically better places to write songs, or can you write good songs anywhere you want?
Well, okay, what got me into the whole thing in the beginning wasn't songwriting. That's not what got me into it. When Hound Dog came across the radio, there was nothing in my mind said, wow, what a great song, who wrote that? It didn't really concern me who wrote it. It didn't matter who wrote it. It was just there, Now, same way with me now. You hear a good song, now you think to yourself, maybe, who wrote it? Why? Because the performer's not as good as the song, maybe. The performer's got to transcend that song. At least come up to it. A good performer will always make a bad song sound good. The record albums are filled with good performers singing filler stuff. Everybody can say they've done that. Whether you wrote it or whether somebody else wrote it, doesn't matter. So what interested me was being a musician. Singer was important, and so was the song. But being a musician was always first and foremost in the back of my mind. That's why, while other people were learning whatever they were learning, what were they learning stuff way back then? Like
Sally Run?
Something like that, a Run Rudolph Run. When the others were learning Run Rudolph Run, my interest was going more to Leadbelly kind of stuff. That when he was playing a stellar 12-string guitar, like, how does the guy do that? Yeah. And where can one used to be found a 12-string guitar? They didn't have any in my town. My intellect always fell that way of the music. Like Paul Whiting, to me, that creates a great mood. Paul Whiting creates a mood. Bing Crosby's early records, they created a mood. Like that Cab Calloway kind of spooky, horn kind of stuff. Violins when big bands had a sound to them, without the Broadway glitz. Right. Once that Broadway trip got into it, it became all sparkly in Las Vegas, really, but it wasn't always so. And music that created an environment. That's the kind of stuff now. It creates an environment. Why? It creates an environment because, it doesn't happen anymore. Why? Because maybe technology has just booted it out. There's no need for it. We have a screen, which supposedly is three-dimensional. Or comes across as three-dimensional. We'd like you to believe it's three-dimensional. Well, movies and stuff like that, which has influenced so many of us who grew up on that stuff. This is much better in glass. Much better. Yes. Glass cup. In Europe, they actually drink it out of glasses.
In the Middle East.
Oh, they do there too?
Russia.
Like this little thing right here. What is it? It's nothing. It's some kind of what is it? Here, listen to this song. Okay, that's a song. It don't have any words. Why do songs need words? They don't. Songs don't need words. They don't.
I did an interview with Pete Seeger, and he was saying all songwriters are links in the chain. He said, do you have any idea, without your link,
Great man, Pete Seeger.
Yeah. Do you have any idea where songwriting might have gone without you? You mentioned how you brought folk music to rock and roll and put the two things together and really showed so many people what can be done in songs, expanded the whole potential of the song. Do you think that would have happened without you?
Somebody else would have done it in some other kind of way. Hey, but so what? So what? How many people threw themselves on a funeral pyre because they saw Jimi Hendrix do it? You can lead people astray awfully easy. People just get ideas when they see other people doing things that, maybe a person who's well, in America, there's a lot of repression. You don't see it so much other areas of the world. Well, you do in other ways, but you see it visibly in America. A lot of repression. A lot of people walking around a lot of people who are repressed. They'd like to get out of town. They just don't know how to do it.
Right.
And so it breaks. It holds back creativity. It's like you'll go somewhere and you can't help but feel it. Or people even tell it to you. Environment is very, very important. People need peaceful, invigorating environments, stimulating environments. And they need. What was the question again? The question was whether people would have been better off. Sure, they'd have found somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe different people would have found other people, but then different people would have been whoever they are now that you say they've been influenced by, I mean, they've been different people, you know, but influenced by other people. You have to be able to get the thoughts out of your mind.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, there's two kinds of thoughts in your mind. There's good thoughts and there's evil thoughts. Both come through your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some people are more loaded down with one than the other, but still, nevertheless, they come through. And you have to be able to sort them out, you know. If you want to be a songwriter, if you want to be a song singer, you must get rid of all that, what they call baggage, you know. You got to be able to sort out those thoughts, because they don't mean it. They're just, you know, pulling you around too. It's important to get rid of all them thoughts. Then you can do something from some kind of a surveillance of the situation, you know. You have some kind of a place where you can see it and it can't affect you, you know, where you can bring some, bring something to the matter besides just take. Like, there's so many situations in life are today. Take. That's all what it is.
Is songwriting...
What's in it for me? Yeah. That syndrome, which started in the me decade, whatever it was. You know, we're still in that. You know, it's still happening.
Is songwriting for you more a sense of taking something from somewhere else, or does it come from you, do you think?
Well, someone else, someplace else is always a heartbeat away. You know? It's not necessary to take a trip to write a song. What a long, strange trip it's been, however. But you know, that part of it's true too. But you know, there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no rule. That's what makes it so attractive. There isn't any rule. You know, it's a you can still be you can still have your wits about you, you know, and do something that gets you off in a multitude of ways, as you very well know. Otherwise, you yourself would be.
Do you think you did new things with songs that had never been done before? Do you think there's still new places, new things to be done to songs? Are songs still going to evolve?
The evolution of song it's like a snake with its tail in its mouth. That's evolution. Yeah, that's what it is. As soon as you're there, you find your tail.
Would it be all right with you if I just named a bunch of your songs and just see what response you have to?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
You can name other songwriters too. You can name anything you want.
Or if I name certain lines out of context.
Sure, go ahead, yeah.
One thing I noticed is so many certain lines of your songs have so much resonance for me. They come to me at different times and they stand out.
Yeah.
Line like, I stand here looking at your yellow railroad in the ruins of your balcony.
Okay. That's an old song. I remember. No, let's say not even. How old? Too old. It's matured well, and it's like old wine. Now, you know, look, that's as complete as you can be. That's all true. Every single letter in the line, it's all true on a literal and on a escapism level.
And is it that truth? Do you think that adds so much resonance to this?
Pull it apart. Oh yeah, exactly. See, if you pull it apart, it's like Yellow Railroad. Well, yeah. All of it.
How about I was lying down in the reeds without any oxygen. I saw you in the wilderness among the men. I saw you drift into infinity and come back again.
Those are probably lyrics left over from my songwriting days with Jacques Levy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, to me, that's what they sound like. Getting back to the Yellow Railroad, now that could be looking someplace. You know, being a performer, you travel the world. You're not just looking out the same old window every day. You're not just walking down the same old street. So you must make yourself observe whatever. But most of the time it hits you. You don't have to observe it. It hits you. Like Yellow Railroad could have been a blinding day that where the sun was so bright, but it could have been right on a railroad track someplace, and it stayed in my mind. You know, these aren't contrived images. These are images which are just in there and have got to come out. You know, if it's in there, it's got to come out.
And the chains of the sea will be busted in the night. That's my favorite line.
Well, that to me sounds like some kind of. That's from.
When the ship comes
right.
Which Arlo Guthrie did the other night.
Yeah. And to me, you see, that's on. That song says a whole lot. You know, Patti LaBelle should do that. You know, there again, that comes from being hanging out at a lot of poetry gatherings, you know, and you know, those kind of images are very romantic. They're very gothic and romantic at the same time, and they have a sweetness to them also. So it's a combination of a lot of different elements at the time. That's not a contrived line. You know, that's not sitting down and writing a song. Those kind of songs, they just come out. They're in you, so they got to come out.
All of these lines are magical. I find over years they still have as much power, if not more, and that's why they stand out for me. Standing on the water, casting your bread while the eyes of the idol with the iron head are glowing.
Which one is that again?
That's the beginning of Joker, man. Standing on the water, casting your bread with the eyes of the idol with the iron head are glowing.
That's a song that got away from me. A bunch of songs that got away from me. They just did.
Me in the writing, they got?
Yeah. They hung around too long. It was one of those. They just were. They were better before. They were tampered with. Well, of course, it was me who tampered. They were. That line. That could have been a good song. It could have been.
Yeah. I think it's tremendous.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
It probably didn't hold up to me because it was, in my mind, it had been written and rewritten and written again.
Yeah, I heard some outtakes of it, and I was just amazed by how many great lines there were that weren't in the... How about but the enemy I see wears a cloak of decency.
That doesn't tell me, right? Is that when you're going to wake up?
No, that's not from Slow Train.
Yeah. When are you going to wake up?
No, this line is actually from Slow Train.
It's from Slow Train. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, there again, that's a song that, you could write a song, every line in the song.
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah. So many of your songs.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's not good either. You know, not really. In the long run, it could have been a better, it could have stood up better by maybe doing just that. Maybe taking every line and making a song out of it if somebody had the willpower. You know? But that line there again is a intellectual line. It's an intellectual line. It's not a, it's a line, well, you know, the enemy I see wears a cloak of decency. That could be a lie. It just could be, you know, the line. Whereas standing on your yellow railroad ain't a lie. But to me, what Woody Guthrie said about songwriting has never been improved upon. He did say there's some songs, he said, they're just, he called it popular music of the day, you know. In his day was Joe Stafford and, you know, Frankie Lane. Although he must have traveled at the same time as Jimmy Rogers. And Woody was pretty, Woody could play Jimmy Rogers songs. And he did. There are recordings of him playing this song. So, but he just had this idea about a song he heard it on the radio. To him, the airwaves were sacred. Well, we know now they're not sacred, but in that day they were. They didn't know what they were. Okay, they were sacred back then, sort of anyway. Anyway, to him it was like, well, somebody's using my airwaves and they're saying all these false things. You see. And to him, popular songs coming in, they started playing on the radio, and they were like all these false songs. You know, and the people back then in that whole rigmarole, they all felt that same way. Maybe not as forceful as him, but so that influenced a lot of people with me coming up, like, you know, all them songs with Hit Radio is about shit anyway. You know, it influenced me in the beginning when nobody had heard that. You know, no one had heard that. If I give my heart to you, you know, will you handle it with care? Or I'm getting sentimental over you. Who gives a shit? You know, like it could be said in a grand way, and the performer could put the song across. But come on, you know, that's because he's a great performer, not because it's a great song. So, like when Woody was also a performer and songwriter. So a lot of us got caught up in that. There isn't anything good on the radio. There isn't just anything. It doesn't happen. Then of course the Beatles came along. You know, kind of grabbed everybody by the throat. You know, and you know, people who were you were for or against, or for you joined them or whatever. So everybody said, "Oh, well, popular science so bad," you know. Everybody wanted to get on the radio. You know, and before that, it didn't matter. Like my first records were never played on the radio. It was unheard of. Folk records weren't played on the radio. You never heard them on the radio, and nobody cared if they were on the radio. Going on into it, part of the last the Beatles came out, and everybody from England, and rock and roll still isn't, and rock and roll still isn't. It's an American thing. It's an American thing. Folk music is not. Folk music is, you can find that, but rock and roll is an American thing. It's just all kind of twisted. But the English just kind of threw it back, didn't they? And they made everybody respect it once more. So then everybody wanted to get on the radio. Now it's like nobody knows what the radio is anymore. Nobody likes it. Nobody to talk to. You know, nobody says. Everybody you talk to, nobody listens to it. You know, but then again, it's bigger than it ever was. But nobody knows how to really respond to it. Nobody can shut it off. You know, people really aren't sure whether they want to be on the radio or whether they don't want to be on the radio. They might want to sell a lot of records, but people always did that. But having hits it wasn't important. Being a folk performer, having hits wasn't important. So, whatever that has to do with anything.
Your songs like Woody Guthrie's always defied that idea of pop entertainment, that you shouldn't listen to him. You come up with a line like, "You've got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend," and suddenly you realize this is a guy talking, really expressing something real.
That's another way of writing a song, of course. Just talking to somebody that ain't there. That's the best way. That's that's the most truest way. Then it just becomes a question of how heroic your speech is. You know, which is, to me, something to strive after.
You talked about songs being heroic. How songs can defy time. And many of your songs are like paintings, in that they show lots of different times and places at once. And yet, when you're writing a song, until you record it or something, it doesn't really exist. Did you ever have that feeling that you're writing something that doesn't exist, and so you then have to reinterpret it, and record it, or make? It's like you have to make the movie of the book before it can exist.
Well, if it's there, it exists.
Yeah. Okay. I'd just like to name some songs and see what response, quick response, any response you might have. One More Cup of Coffee.
Was that for a coffee commercial?
I don't think so. No. To me, I always loved it. It's One More Cup of Coffee Before I Go to the Valley Below. It could be mythical, or it could be, like the San Fernando Valley. That's like that. The two levels of it. And then the verses are so mythical to me.
Yeah. What's the line again?
One more cup of coffee before I go to the Valley Below.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's got the pleasure knows no limits.
Yeah, no, it's a gypsy song. Yeah, that song was written during a gypsy festival. In South France one year, somebody took me there to the gypsy high holy days, which coincides with our particular birthday. And so somebody took me there for a birthday party once and hanging out there for a week probably influenced the writing of that song. But the Valley Below probably came from someplace else. Yeah. Probably. My feeling about the song was that it probably was when the verses came someplace else. It had nothing to. It wasn't about it. And so this Valley Below thing became the fixture hanging on. But Valley Below, could mean anything.
How about I and I?
That was one of the Caribbean songs. One year, a bunch of songs just came to me hanging around down the islands, and that was one of them.
Ring Them Bells?
It stands up when you hear it played by me, but if another performer did it, there may be, you might find that it probably wouldn't have as much to do with bells as what the title proclaims. Somebody once came and sang it in my dressing room to me, to try to influence me to sing it that night. and there was it could have gone either way.
Which way did it go?
It went right out the door. It went out the door and didn't come back. It was like listening to this song that was on my record, sung, by someone who wanted me to sing it. It was something that was hard to say. Yeah.
How about Idiot Mood?
A great performer too.
The person who sang it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Idiot Mood.
The bootleg version of that is amazing. The soft, sad version of Idiot Mood is so different from the other versions of it.
Well, you don't hear songs like that every day. Like Neil has it like that. Obviously, if you've heard both versions, you realize, of course, that there could be a myriad of verses for the thing. It doesn't stop. It wouldn't stop. It doesn't end. Where do you end? you could still be writing it, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's something which could be a work continually in progress. But
Many of your songs seem that.
yeah.
How do you know when to stop?
Although, let me say, on saying that, let me just say that my lyrics, to my way of thinking, are better for my songs than anybody else's. People have, have felt about my songs sometimes the same way as me. And that do think, well, they say to me, well, your songs are so opaque that people tell me they have feelings they'd like to express within the same framework. My response always is go ahead and do it if you feel like it. But it never comes out. They're not as good as my lyrics. There's just something about my lyrics that I just have a gallantry to them. And that might be all they have for them. However, it's no small thing.
Precious Angel?
Yeah. That's another one. It could go on forever.
Yeah.
There's not enough verse. There's too many verses, and there's not enough.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's people ask me, how come you don't sing that song anymore? It's like another one of the songs. It's like anything you say can be. It's just too much and not enough. It's like a lot of my songs strike me as being, that's the natural thing about them. To me, they don't, it's too hard to wonder why about them. Mm-hmm. To me, they're not worthy of wondering why about them. They're songs. They're not written in stone. They're on plastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that with your songs. You rewrite great songs, but to us, we'd see written in stone. Once Bob Dylan wrote that to me,
right.
Do it.
Right. So somebody told me that Tennyson often wanted to rewrite his poems when he saw them in print.
Very great last question. A last question about that. You already mentioned the song Joey. I've always loved the song Joey.
To me, that's a great song.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. To me, it's a great song and never loses its appeal.
And one of the greatest visual endings of any song, when I'm pushing the table over.
Hey, that's a tremendous song. And you only know that singing it night after night. You know what got me singing that song again is Garcia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He got me singing that song again. He said that's one of the best songs ever written. Coming from him,
mm-hmm.
That was, it was hard to know which way to take that. but he got me singing that song again with them.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how it would, right from the gate goal, it had a life of its own. It just ran out of the gate. And it just kept on getting better and better and better and better, and it keeps on getting better. It's in its infant stages as a performance thing. Of course, it's a longs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, to me, not to blow my own horn, but to me, the song is like a Homer ballad.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Telling the story
Oh, yeah.
about a hero.
Yeah, much more so than A Hard Rain, which it's not really, it's a long song too.
Yeah.
And, but to me, Joey has a Homer kind of quality to it
Mm-hmm.
that you don't hear every day, especially in popular music.
When you think about your body of work, are you satisfied with what you've done? Do you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to?
Musically?
As far as your writing.
Would you like some?
No, nothing.
Most everything, yeah.
Is there a favorite song you've written? Like, is there one that you like the best? No. Do you still write a lot? Is songwriting something that you still spend a lot of time doing?
Well, did you hear that record that one we just released last year, Down in the Groove.
Sure. I've heard all of them.
Those songs were, they came in pretty easy. Yeah. Paul's really great talking with you.
Thank you, Bob. It's
Yeah.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Both of your parts.
Really
Really sounded beautiful.
Well, I just scratched the surface. I could go on.
Secret. We could have outgrown it.
Yeah, we did. I appreciate going into all
Yeah.
that.
Well, it was really interesting to hear the ending. It's been in print so long. I forgot that he said, I like doing that. I like talking to you, Paul. He's a nice man.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
And a little flute playing at the end.
That was Bob playing. There was a little ceramic flute that he picked up. And the other voice was Elliot Mintz, who was his press rep at this time, who set it up. And then after that, he said, do you want to talk to Yoko? Yeah, I do. And he set up Yoko, too, for me.
Fantastic.
So thank you, Elliot.
I heard Bob say that he likes to drink coffee out of a glass. You hear him stirring the glass. He said it's much better in a glass.
Yes, and because it was Bob Dylan, anything he wanted, was important. And we only had glasses. Elliot was like, we could get real cups. And Dylan goes, no, it's better out of a glass. So after that week I bought glass coffee things. And, that's
Did you
Bob...
write a better song? That's the question.
I think I did. And I wrote it in B minor, too, because he said, try B minor. So I did.
That's funny.
But,
So-
it's Bob Dylan. Anything, his guitar was there. It's like, it's Bob Dylan's guitar. Anything about Bob to me has such huge significance. So it's very exciting. I never felt like it was normal. In fact, as you know, you meet some famous people, they seem normal. It didn't seem normal to me. It seemed like I was talking to Shakespeare. His face is just so iconic and distinctive.
He talked about Shakespeare. He said all the great stories, they're already in Shakespeare plays. There aren't any new ones.
A lot of people just doubted Shakespeare could have written all those plays because there's just so much. Like, how could one man do that? And I was thinking, that's going to happen with Bob. And already people think, someone else wrote the songs. So I asked him, do you think years from now people will question that? Because they might. He goes, people have a hard time with anything that overwhelms them. And that's so true. If someone does too much, people have a hard time. That a human could do that. So I thought that was a pretty interesting answer. And he said, songwriting is great. You can do new things and you can get yourself excited. It's a wonderful thing to be part of. And he said, thank God for songwriters. So he has a lot of love for songwriting itself.
Yeah. Well, thank God for songwriters. I wouldn't be here.
That's right. Neither would I. Not this far.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us. We're the Great Song Adventure. And we will see you next time.
Once upon a time, you used to be mine. Birds and bees and apples and trees, the world's a perfect design. Do it all so well, and you know it. Let your light shine, you know you show it. Mercy, joy, and success. Every day is a chance for